Hello, good morning. Oh, good morning sound like just a Tuesday, come on. Right, first of all, thanks for coming by for this workshop. How many of you are researchers? Hey, everyone is researcher. And how many of you are actually just sign up a PhD program or in the process? Okay. You're the only one. So you all got your PhD already? Not yet, okay. Are you looking forward to get your PhD? Yes. What's the reason you sign up a PhD program? Tell me whatever you want. You can just say that because you want someone to call you doctor. You have to be very careful, you know. So when you buy an air ticket, if you insist to put your doctor in the air ticket, when anybody gets sick on the plane, they'll call you. So I suggest you stay away from that, right? Of course, doing a PhD could be a lot of good reasons. And one thing I feel proud about researchers is that you're someone that could change the world in the future. You might not be as big deal as like changing the whole world, but at least you're like one out of the thousands of research out there, making us to have a better place to live, right? Are you thinking along that way? If you are, that's good. Well, a lot of people are always puzzling what's PhD. You can think about it as something like permanent head damage. But someone actually making it much more fun to watch. Hope you enjoy this.
I've got around 2 kids and a picket fence. Everything was hazy, now it's making sense. Alright, I made it, so now what?
Right. The whole world of knowledge is a big circle, and over time, you expand your knowledge. You know, knowledge is something that sticks around with us for life. It's part of the journey. As you grow, sometimes we call wisdom, knowledge that come along, so you expand. But of course, when you start specializing it, it's a lot more different from the way you look at the entire world, because you're only looking at a small part of it, and even when you get a PhD, it's a small dent of so many things out there. And this is what PhD is all about. You become a specialist. Specialist means you go in deep, but the thing is that at the same time, it becomes siloed. Not every researcher, they know each other what they're doing. And that potentially a problem. And that's why you need to face the world in the future in better telling the story. Look at this slide. This slide is actually telling how the future looks like from IEEE. When you think about the world with technology changing so fast, information overwhelming, and now you, as a researcher, you want to do publication, how to stay outstanding, how to get attention from the people. Because you know that there's so much information, and you're like one of the many researchers out there. And don't even think about citation, because citation is based upon someone who read your work and cite your work. So is it important to promote your work? It is. Because even you get your paper published in Nature, one of the most prestigious journals in the world, does it mean people will come and cite your paper automatically? There's so many papers in Nature, right? Why must be you? Even though I have no doubt that Nature is very good, and Nature, they promote their journal, but they don't promote your work. It is your job to promote your work. If you don't promote your work, people won't find you, not even mention about citation. So let's see the real world that you're in today. If you look at this slide on the left-hand side, this is your library. Library is a place with knowledge. They subscribe a lot of information, database, tools for you. And of course, you know your challenge. You need to have output, right? Do you hear about publish or perish? What do you think about that statement? Is it a good one or a bad one? Well, I'm not saying you should not publish. You should. But you also need to juggle between quantity and quality. There are people who publish like 100 over paper, a citation doesn't move at all, then you better start worrying about your paper. You know, recently there was an article out there, they say that professors start writing all this paper and nobody wants to read. Do you want people to read your paper or you just care about publishing paper? Ask yourself that question. Because if you think about just publishing paper, you could have hundreds and thousands. I know it could be an incentive issue, right? I'm not sure what UDN will give you. Maybe what, one paper, 1,500 ringgit? If you publish in ISI, probably more, something like that. Now, yes, of course, you can always go and claim an incentive. But as a researcher, you know very well that it's not about number of publications. It's the impact. And one fundamental impact is really the citation, because people look at your work, cite your work, potentially it helps to build science. So the gap here is that you need to have the skill set to do things. It's not just the tools. It's like a carpenter, you could have tools, but you also need to have the skill how to use the tool to do the job and make the furniture nicely. And you are just like one of those carpenters. You come to the library, there are plenty of good tools. Are you using them? Or you just like Mr. Google most of the time? How many of you don't use Google? Sound like a strange question. We all use Google. But do you use Google for research? Well, if you are, then you better ask yourself why. Because your library are very sad. Because they spend so much money here and you stick around with Google. Very soon you make your librarian out of job. Please don't do that. We need them. They are very nice people. Well, I have curated something called Research 1, 2, 3. It means that authoring, publishing, and outreaching. When I first started it, I kind of thinking that it's like a process, a workflow. But the more I look at it, it is not actually. It is a skill set. It is a 3 skill set that you need to do a good job in order for you to be successful as a researcher. The first one is talking about authoring. Now, authoring is very much the beginning of your research day. Pretty much the first day you sign up for a PhD program or master degree, when you start thinking about, dreaming about how you could be in the frontiers of science. There's 2 to think about it. It's not like you ask your supervisor and say, what am I supposed to do? Well, there's one tool we could use, it's called design thinking process. Have you heard about design thinking process? It basically means empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. It's almost like your workflow now. But what is empathize? When you're thinking about designing something, is really have to think about something being used by people. Because there's no point to design something and nobody using it, right? This is go back my first point earlier on, is that if you write a paper and nobody wants to read, what's the point? It's important because research has to be used eventually. Maybe in the future, maybe tomorrow, but you need to empathize about the usage, your audience, and who is your audience. Are you writing a paper for somebody? Is it supposed to be multidisciplinary or supposed to be very specialized in certain area? And is it for a new technology, up and coming? So you need to know that there's such thing called S-curve, which means that science could be in a different stage at any time. If anything before A, it means that, we still need a breakthrough. Actually, most of the time you like to be between A and B because this is where the research and a lot of activity, thing moving up very fast. But when you pass the point of B, actually that's what you reach limitation. And then your question now is that, do you want to stick to this technology or you want to move forward to something else? You have a choice because research is all about trying different things. How to get all this information actually? Well, the only way to do is reading. As a matter of fact, you sign up a PhD program and you don't like reading, that will be a problem. Do you realize that you spend almost the first 12 months doing reading most of the time? I think a lot of people are thinking that, oh, wow, research, first thing I must go to the lab and start playing all the machine and get it exploded. Look like Einstein. Now you have to start reading and you have to read plenty of stuff. It's challenging because there's so much thing to read nowadays. And that's why we require some tools for smart discovery. You know, the definition of smart discovery is really to be selective. Reading today, you have to be very, very selective. It's just like watching movie today. I'm not sure how many of you are movie fan. I mean, even I myself like to watch a lot of movie. I couldn't be watching all the movie every day, right? I had to be selective. Well, while you're doing your job, there's one very important thing in today's world is about originality, and sometimes we call plagiarism. When you work on your work, please start thinking, the world you are in today is digital. You know what's digital? Digital means people can trace the similarity of your work, of your text, in a very easy way. Of course, you don't blame them, because you also make copy and paste very easy. You know, during my day as a researcher, I find that copy and paste is really pain in the neck. You know why? Because I need to take out the book, I have to copy it manually. And today, when I think about copy and paste, how difficult was it? 2 clicks, right? If you do more than 2 clicks, actually your skill is not so good yet. So you have to improve it. 2 clicks, that's all. If you can do it with 1 click, even better. I'm not sure how you're going to do it. But basically, you can cut and paste fairly easily. But that is what text similarity is all about. Now let's look back a little bit further. In research, integrity is very important. We all talk about research integrity. Fundamentally, there are 2 things that could damage your integrity. One is copy and paste. That's a texting. And I would advise you stay away from that because there's tools out there can catch you fairly easily, like Turnitin, for example.